the late Sean Price and Rockness Monster, Helter Skelter on Nocturnal. Talk a little bit about how that came about.
Let's see. So I got introduced to Joey again. She was that road manager for down south and stuff like that. She introduced me to Walt and Evil D. Right. So and I actually I'm glad because that they were another group of producers that helped to develop me and show me stuff. I'm glad you said because I was dealing with like a certain frame of time when down south, but they were definitely we used to go to their house in Bushwick. They would show me techniques and stuff like that, and we would just just chop it up overall. And one of the beat miners was Baby Paul, and so Baby Paul had done La Fly Skoshka, I think something like his work. So he actually I got introduced to the Duck Down in a couple of different ways. So Evil D and Walt, and then Paul, because he was present there, he said, "Okay, yeah, check out his stuff or whatever like that." And he had just done with the OGC, right?
Yep.
And Helter Skelter, he was like, yeah, well, check out his stuff. So when they were doing that album, they ended up choosing Place to Be. That was the only song I did on there and stuff like that. But that was awesome, man. Like, and it looked funny enough, that was my first, because I was trying different instruments and stuff. And that was one of the times I bought a bass guitar and I was trying to play it. So I did the beat and I'm like do 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 dun, super simple, like struggling to keep the string. Like a bass, you got to keep the strings from ringing out, right? Like because if you don't push it properly and stuff. But that's one thing I remember whenever I hear that song. I'm like, man, you really just were constantly pushing yourself to try stuff, because it was like one of the only songs I ever tried attempted to play a bass on. You know what I mean? So, but it was great working with them. Um, and the thing was with them, their voices, like the difference, but it was almost like with the artifacts where the differences in their voices and how they present themselves, it's such a great marriage. It's like parents having a kids and it's like the best version of both of themselves. You know what
Mm,
I mean? And it's like when their music, like the rock and Sean's that playful kind of thing, and like it just produces this. It was great. Great work with them.
right. Just a couple more. How'd you link with DJ Crush?
DJ Crush. It was Duro. Duro was the engineer. We actually met Duro at Platinum Island. We were working on the Artifacts album, and he was one of the staff engineers at Platinum Island, which is actually in the same building as Raucous. I mean, yeah, same building as Raucous, but no connection. Obviously, Big B has no connection with them, but it that's how I end up connecting. It was just when you're in proximity to stuff, like you end up meeting different people, whatever. But Duro was the house engineer, recording engineer, and so in the project we were working with the artifacts and stuff, and then they I don't know, I guess they contacted Duro to engineer for DJ Crush. So Mommy and Noriko would work with him, and they came over. Now DJ Crush didn't speak English and we didn't speak Japanese, right? Like, but Mommy was the translator, but spoke both. So it really was Duro who he was working with them as an engineer, and then when they came here, they were wanting to use U.S. producers, to add to like collaborate with Crush and stuff like that. So it was really through Duro that I connected with him.
Dope. And how did the collaboration with OC and Razcast come about? Action Guaranteed.
It was through. So that was after I met the Lyricist Lounge folks, Anthony, Danny, and Perry, and that was just one of the songs that would have been, they were soliciting for the Lyricist Lounge album. So OC, I'm trying did I know OC ahead of time? I guess I didn't. Oh, Rascast I definitely know because he was from the West Coast. Yeah, but it was really through the Lyricist Lounge project. We came to Platinum Island again, record and stuff like that. And yeah, that's how I met him.
Very dope. So many classics throughout the years. Catch us up on what you have been up to throughout the 2000s and here recently.
Yeah, it definitely pulled back. I was doing, as far as like releasing production, I was doing a lot of judging, a lot of beat contests. So mentoring a lot of young producers, with like the beat conductors out. Well, actually, I saw you right, Mitch, the B conductors event, I standard, some different things, and so I was doing that for a while, and then I launched this company called Drum Stacks, which I ended up pulling back. It was like a sound design thing or whatever like that, and then now I'm working with an artist called his name is Marquise Rarity. So he's a guy from Richmond, he grew up in my cousin Jeremy's neighborhood, right? He was like the age group just under us. And when my cousin Jeremy and Mayor actually worked with them, they were going to manage a group with Marquise was in it. But I always felt Marquise was just dope voice, everything like that. And we were off and on, connecting with each other, working here and there, not releasing anything, just figuring it out. And then with about a little bit over a year ago, we just like reconnected, and it was just like, well, let's do it, man. So we actually, instead of just at first, I started, well, I'm just gonna produce him and whatever, and because he produces too, and so I'm like, man, that's not gonna work because it's like I'm not gonna be able to do everything. He's gonna want to produce for himself, just like I was wanting to produce for myself. When I first started out, right? Like, because he for the same function, he produced for himself because he's an MC. So I was like, well, you know what? Let's form a group. So we basically have formed a group. So it's Marquise Rarity and Shawn J. Period. We actually almost finished an album that we're doing. It's going to be called Thank You Track Lib. It's an album that we did based around because I had stopped sampling for a while too. Just because it was like I knew the stuff wasn't getting cleared and stuff like that, and just growing in my faith, as a Christian and stuff. I mean, I know I was stealing stuff at a point, you know what I mean? Just little obscure stuff and whatever. And but TrackLib resolved for me because it's just the clearance. It's like, hey, they're getting compensated. We use it, great. You know what I mean? And also because it's pre-negotiated, you get to know, hey, if I use this amount, it's gonna be 20% ownership. If I use 30 seconds of this thing or whatever like that. So it's liberated us, but that's totally my focus right now is with the group with him, and we're about to start putting out work, and I'm excited about that because a producer, yeah, like I love the beat scene, I love the producers, and we get in there, it's like gladiators, and who has the best tricks on the drums, and all this stuff like that, that's fun. But when you're able to pull off a song, right, and have an MC or a singer or instrumentalist or whatever like that, it's such a beautiful feeling to like take something that just is invisible, right, bring it and into a physical form, or like the point you're able to hear it, with your ears and stuff like that. And it's like I'm just so loving this process with him, man. So that's we're a group, even production wise. Like it's not me as a solo producer now. It's like because his musical style is different than mine, so it's like we just go back and forth. I may start something, he adds. He starts something, I adds, or stuff like that. So,
With so much music dropping so quickly and so much going on, how what keeps you inspired to keep creating good music?
um, I think that I think because of the fact that you mentioned that, like the speed, because back in the day it was really formulaic, like, and because the record companies were really the gatekeepers of the releases, right? Or even if you were an independent artist, you had to deal with the manufacturer. Like say you had to manufacture vinyl, so you're dealing with lead time to vinyl and how many people are ahead of you, and that's gonna the record plan is too hot in the summer and they can't make as many records and stuff because whatever, right? So you're dealing with a mechanism in an industry that puts up impediments, along the way. Whereas now with like the digital, to be able to like work and release, and now with like having access to like, I know people have a hate for the streaming services for not giving the royalty rates and stuff like that. But the one thing I think that particularly for artists when you want exposure, like the value I think that they bring is right now all of us have phones. I'm on my phone, you're on your phone, right? And they've aggregated millions of people to this device, put an app on this device, and giving people, they made it frictionless for, or minimal friction for the content consumer. Whereas before, oh, you had to go get the record. You're walking around, you're not playing a vinyl record. Then people walk around with the CDs, and then you walk around with a CD bag. You only can have so many things in the CD bag if you're walking around, or the little cassette player. So the advance of technology gave the ability for us to have, and the invention of the iPod and things like that gave us the ability to have more in in our ears, right? And I think that it's freer now to do music. Like when you're listening, I read this book and it was talking about at no point in history did a listener, you could go from Michael Jackson to Bach to Prince to Barbara Streisand to Gangstar to like all like back to back. You're curating your own experience, right? Your own musical taste. And that needs to be fed, right? And but because it does, it's so free. Like the stuff like Marquise and I doing now, we're so, it's just so fun now, right? It was fun before when we were younger, but it's really fun now because it's not about, man, I gotta make it. It gotta has that single or whatever. We can do experiment and just have fun. Our thing is bold creativity. Like that's our motto. That's what we living on. It's just like, let's do it. And sometimes bold can be super simple with them rapping like super fast or whatever. And just it's fun now, man. And yeah, it's just fun. Let me get some water.
All right, no doubt.
All right, brother.
I appreciate everything you've done for the culture, everything you continue to do. Any last words for those who've been down with you since day one and the new fans that you've found on your way to the future?
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, I'd say just thank you. Well, you definitely, I can't take for granted that people even like, just because you do something. It's not like if you build it, they will come. You know what I mean? It's like it's I'm just humble, those who do appreciate it, humble to you. Just even we met and you were like, hey, let's do the interview, and you clearly did the research to know you actually, oh, this song, and I really appreciate that. Like it's, we live our lives now and stuff like that and work and do whatever things we do. But the fact that we were able to leave, portions of our lives, in musical form, just for other people, just to hear where we were, to capture a moment in that time, and I just really appreciate, just all the support throughout the years.
Very dope. Before we get out of here, can you shout out your social media and any websites that you have?
Mainly Instagram, Shawn J period, SHAWN J period spelled out music.
No doubt. Like I said, that's the one and only Shawn J. Period. I'm the Gerald Sincere. Thank you again for such a great history lesson. Let's stay locked in. Let's keep in touch.
For sure. Thank you, brother. I really appreciate you.
Absolutely. See you again soon.
You too.
All right.